So now let's move on and let's talk about how we're going to change, the process of changing. Do you guys know what a portmanteau is? A portmanteau is like a word mashup, like superific or inchurrito or fantabulistic. It's where you smash words together. Well, I made up my own portmanteau, and this one is called, I call it Effauses, okay? And if you're wondering what the heck is an Effause, it's exactly the same thing as a cafect. Did you get that? Okay. So I've put cause and effect together, and what I mean to get you guys to connect with in terms of that word is that there's some truth in the way life shows up. Life shows up more like an effause, which is a flow of things, flowing, not one separate. There's no space in between. It's all a flow. A cause is actually the effect of something else. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get in the flow of healthful change. We're going to see that everything that we do is like producing a pattern of actions that flows in a direction that will produce a change no matter what. That's what we want to do. We want to know how not to keep creating some of the things that we've created in our lives, and we want to learn how to manifest some of the things that our heart is calling us to manifest, those things that brought us to this class. Okay, so how does it start? What inspires us? If we're the happiest person in the world, are we taking this class likely? No, right? If we had it all figured out, we wouldn't be taking this class, nor would I be teaching it. Okay, I just want you to know I'm on this path as much as all of you. Okay? Every single day, a little bit. And what got me doing this work? What brought you here? A pain experience, right? And I don't mean just physical pain. I mean the hard feelings, the fear, the anxiety, the deep grief, the depression, all of that arises in our life that we're just finally, I can't take this anymore, I want things to get better. The gift in that pain is that it inspires you to do something different. And then what happens? We bring a little faith and inspiration to the now moment. We're filling ourselves, once we realize, okay, I want the change, I believe it's possible, we actually, that's when we begin the flow. And then what do? The very next thing that everybody does all the time, no matter what, is you begin to investigate information. Is that not so? Notice that that's what you're doing right now. You knew that you'd have to take this class or read a book or talk to somebody for the change to start. Like it wasn't going to just happen by itself. Like you had to go looking for something that was going to begin to change you. And if we're always the one that's stuck with our own thoughts in our heads, and there's nothing else getting in the way of that stream of thinking, then there isn't going to be any change, right? What we have to do is we have to put ourselves on a diet of enlightened ideas. Keep feeding ourselves the goodness, the truth, and the beauty of those enlightened ideas. And those enlightened ideas, those transcendent ideas, that's what's going to stimulate the change. And you know it for sure when you come into contact with the truth, when you hear it, it's instantaneously you feel better. It's like, oh yeah, that's so nourishing. don't ever stop. Investigating information. This is the path to change and healing. It's one of the Effauses, okay? And so then next, what happens when you've put yourself into contact with those new, inspiring, enlightening ideas? You're gonna learn some practices, are you not? Yes, you will. Now, what if you don't do any of the practices? Is anything going to happen? You are not going to change this thing. This is a biological recording device. And how do you record anything in it? By doing something with it. Like I can watch a person play the guitar, watch and watch and watch, and listen and listen and listen, and enjoy and enjoy and enjoy. But that will not make me a guitarist. Okay? It won't. All the wanting to be a guitarist in the world isn't going to make me a guitarist unless I put some effort into the practice, right? Okay, good. So let's say you learn something in this class, like how to watch your mind, the triggers, the thoughts and sensations, working skillfully with those, not making anything worse, and orienting towards the beauty, truth, and goodness. Like, oh, that's so simple. I can do that. And you know that that's what you're learning to do. Then when the lousy thing shows up, you show up with more awareness and composure, right? Because you've been enabled by the enlightened ideas and your practice. You're different. You've been enabled to be skillful. And then, in that moment where you are skillful, you don't make it worse. It doesn't instantaneously disappear because it's still the waves and the current and the tide and the wind buffeting the ship sometimes on your way to Hawaii, your destination. But you're sailing through it all in the most efficient, effective, and skillful way. Awareness and composure will do that for you. And then what's going to happen, because you are working with the energy of the patterns that arise, and you work with it skillfully, that will generate inside of you, and this is something that no one can teach you, it will generate inside of you insight. Like, oh, I get this now. That's actually how it works. More truth begins to grow inside of you. You become more aware of the truth of how to work the mind-body network and the truth of who you are, and that allows for the change. And then, are you enlightened? Does it stop? Do you die? No. It keeps going, right? And then there's the next thing to learn and the next thing to transcend. But this time, you're totally aware of the process. And so it's not just, oh, faith, please, right? It's verified faith. You know for sure you're on the right track. And the verified faith keeps you practicing. The diligence, it gets easier over time to stay in the process, in the flow of your practice. Okay? So these are the Effauses of Healthful Change. This is in your study guide.